At least 13 people killed and 60 injured in two explosions outside Kabul airport. A suicide bomb and a car bomb struck as thousands were waiting to be evacuated from Afghanistan, among the dead children and US military. Officials say the attack was likely carried out by IS. Boris Johnson has described it as barbaric, but says the UK's evacuation efforts will continue.
What this attack shows is the importance of continuing that work in as fast and as efficient a manner as possible in the hours that remain to us, and that's what we're going to do.
Also tonight, the Education Secretary says he's ready to roll out COVID jabs to children as young as 12.
The NHS is always planning and always working up every single scenario, and it's quite right that they do that.
More changes to the UK travel rules, but Turkey remains on the red list. And the worrying number of pets piling on the pounds during lockdown.
This is the ITV Evening News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Good evening. Western intelligence agencies' warnings that a terror attack on Kabul airport was imminent have been proven tragically right. The details are still becoming clear tonight, but it appears there were two explosions and at least 13 people have died, though local reports put the number far higher. The first bomb targeted Kabul airport directly, exploding outside the Abbey Gate, where people were queuing to enter. A short time later, the second hit the nearby Baron Hotel, where the UK has been processing Britons and Afghans eligible for evacuation. A warning, Juliet Bremner's report contains images of the immediate aftermath of the bombings.
The warning of an imminent attack didn't stop the bloodshed. Those caught in the explosion were helped into hospital, victims of yet more misery in Kabul. By the time they ran, it was too late. Those killed and injured by a suicide bomber had been queuing to get in the airport. For them, escaping the Taliban, still a greater priority than avoiding a potential terrorist attack. But it has now been confirmed that a number of American Marines ordered in to help with the evacuation were killed during the assault on the airport. Others were injured.
This threat of a terrorist attack is one of the constraints that we've been operating under in Operation Pitting, in the big extraction that's been going on, and we've been ready for it, we've been prepared for it.
As the wounded were treated, it emerged that there'd been two explosions and an exchange of gunfire close to the hotel being used by British officials. One man who witnessed the attack has vowed to stay away.
People was killed, the ambulance was there, and there was so horrible moment. I will not go to the airport tomorrow because I saw the horrible and scary scene.
Earlier in the day, there'd been desperate attempts to clear the airport, the Taliban letting off flares to disperse crowds after a warning of a credible imminent threat from the Islamic State group working in Afghanistan. Even these crude tactics did nothing to stop the crush at the gates. The suicide bombers understood to have triggered his explosive vest close to one of these entry points. Tonight, just hours after the blast, planes could be seen taking off, filled with people desperate to escape the mayhem unfolding beneath them. A defiant message from the US and coalition partners that this evacuation will continue. Juliet Bremner, ITV News.
Well, let's go now to Washington and our global security editor, Rohit Kachru. Rohit, officials there are laying the blame firmly on the Islamic State group. What might this mean for the American mission in Afghanistan?
Well, Lucrezia, this has the potential to change everything. Throughout this process, it seemed that President Biden's primary audience was the domestic audience, and now they're about to see coffins returning to the United States draped in the US flag. Several diplomatic sources have confirmed to ITV News that they believe that this was the work of ISIS Khorasan, an affiliate of Islamic State group which has been operating in Afghanistan for several years. Now, unlike any other terrorist attack, what is so striking here is that this was predicted by President Biden himself, and last night again by Secretary of State Blinken, and yet the US forces could do nothing to stop it. So this is a really important moment in terms of the US military operation inside Afghanistan. Their withdrawal relies in part on this promise from the Taliban that it will stop foreign terrorist organizations from operating there. That has already been proven to be a hollow promise, and we await to see what the US decides to do in response.
All right, Rohit in Washington, thank you. Today's attacks bring even more doubt and uncertainty for the thousands of people still desperate to escape Afghanistan. Hundreds more arrived in the UK today, having taken off before the explosions. But the Prime Minister has said the evacuation will continue. Here's our political correspondent, Libby Vina.
Just hours before the Kabul explosions, this charter flight arrived at Heathrow Airport, bringing another 369 people to safety. It's now clear they could be among the last to leave Afghanistan for a new life here. While the children may not know the danger they've escaped, the adults certainly do.
They help us, our people in Afghanistan come here, and I'm so very happy.
As they were being processed elsewhere in Britain, others were still fearing for the safety of loved ones. This former interpreter's wife is stranded in Kabul. His hopes of getting her out dashed by the airport blasts.
I was speechless, to be honest. I was just thinking like, this is the end of the game. This is the end of the evacuation. I'm sure that the troops will leave soon. And actually, I don't want to put my wife's life at risk and send her to stay outside the gate for hours.
How much danger do you think your wife is now in?
Very danger, very dangerous. If the troops leave Afghanistan, believe me that they will find my family and they will kill my wife and whole family.
How Britain would respond was discussed at an emergency Cobra meeting this afternoon. The Prime Minister confirming that for now the airlift goes on.
I want to stress that we're going to continue with that operation, and we're now coming to
as 12 as they return to school. But with most other COVID-safe measures being phased out for the new term, teaching unions say not enough is being done to protect their members. More from our science editor, Tom Clark.
At West Craven High School in Lancashire, incoming Year 7s are taking part in summer school before all pupils return next week. Nervous about starting secondary, less so about COVID.
I feel pretty safe because we're doing lateral flows and everything.
The more we test, the more we know what we need to do, I think.
Lateral flow tests will replace bubbles and masks, and plans are being made for a nationwide vaccination programme for over 12s, the Education Secretary told us today, pending expert approval.
The NHS is always planning and always working up every single scenario, and it's quite right that they do that. But obviously, we wait for the advice from JCVI about when we can take that next step if we're able to do so.
If there is one, the impact of a vaccination campaign won't be immediate, and schools are returning with very high infection rates nationwide. But most heads just want pupils back.
It does concern me, but I'm absolutely certain that all the control measures that are possible are in place and the school will be as safe as possible from next week.
But research for ITV News found plenty of concern among teachers. The teacher survey app Teacher Tap polled nearly 6,000 staff in all types of schools in England. 53% said they're not confident that learning over the next half term will be unaffected. 72% said that government guidance over COVID was either poor or terrible. And overall, 87% said they were worried to some degree about pupils catching COVID when they return to school.
Obviously, the fact that many of us are now double vaccinated does give a huge degree of protection, but children will still have their education disrupted. They'll have to be off school if they get a positive test.
In Scotland, schools have been back for a week or more and cases are soaring. The Westminster government has said education is its highest priority, a commitment that's about to be tested. Tom Clark, ITV News.
A Manchester City footballer has been charged with rape and sexual assault. He's 27-year-old left-back Benjamin Mendy. Victoria Grimes joins us from Salford now. Victoria, what more can you tell us?
Well, we've heard tonight that Benjamin Mendy has been charged with 4 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual assault. Cheshire Police say the charges relate to 3 complainants over the age of 16 and are alleged to have happened between October last year and this month. And in a statement tonight, his club, Manchester City, have confirmed that following those charges, he has been suspended pending an investigation. They've said that the matter is subject to a legal process and the club is therefore unable to make any further comment at this time. Now, Benjamin Mendy plays at left-back. He's been at Manchester City since 2017 when he joined from Monaco for a reported £52 million. He also plays, of course, for the French national team. A police spokesman tonight said that both they and the Crown Prosecution Service want to remind everybody that criminal proceedings against Mendy are live and that he has a right to a fair trial. He's been remanded in custody ahead of his appearance at Chester Magistrates Court tomorrow.
All right, Victoria, thank you. Still to come on the ITV Evening News. More medals in Tokyo for Paralympics GB. And the problem with our pooches piling on the pounds. Those stories and more after the break. Welcome back. Thailand has been added to the government's travel red list following an increasing number of COVID cases there. There's better news for Denmark, Switzerland and Canada, which are being added to the green list. But there's evidence tonight that this summer's green destinations have not been enough to undo the damage done to the travel industry. More than half of travel agents say they still expect to make redundancies. Here's our consumer editor, Chris Choi.
Stansted today with all the stresses and uncertainties that come with packing your bags in a pandemic.
Quite confusing, quite frustrating, and you couldn't really plan anything. Chopping and changing.
Enough's enough now. I think everybody wants to go on holiday, especially if you're vaccinated as well.
Tonight's traffic lights update sees Canada and the Azores going green, along with Switzerland, Finland, Denmark, Lithuania and Liechtenstein. But the popular holiday destination of Thailand goes red, along with Montenegro.
Nice and hot here.
In Turkey, this couple are devastated. The country remains red, making a trip to see their new grandchild in the UK all but impossible.
MPs, etc., they lose touch with real people. And I don't think they really understand how it affects us.
It's completely wrong. It's totally political and very, very angry.
In terms of making any meaningful difference, today's traffic light update really was the last chance of summer. But new research shows that in any case, it is already too late for many in this industry. Former travel agent Nathaniel Gratrix lost his job, and now APTA says 52% of firms expect more redundancies.
It was sad, really, because it wasn't a decision I would want to make. I looked, but there was nothing showing. There was no sort of jobs. You looked online, and there was just nothing available in travel.
The travel changes start 4 a.m. Monday, and as the getaway goes on tonight, this industry's final hopes for summer are also disappearing into the clouds. Chris Choi, ITV News at Stansted Airport.
And you can see all the latest travel restrictions on our dedicated website, itv.com/holiday news. Supply chain issues are now affecting over a quarter of the UK's food and hospitality businesses. 27% of firms have been hit by low stock levels, according to the Office for National Statistics. The problems have been blamed on a combination of Brexit and the pandemic. And there are over 90,000 full-time vacancies in the NHS, according to new figures. The NHS Confederation said the workforce shortage was alarming. In Tokyo, 2 British swimmers set new world records on their way to gold medals on day 2 of the Paralympics. They included Maisie Summers-Newton, who triumphed over her childhood hero Ellie Simmonds, the athlete who inspired her to take up the sport. Well, Lucy Watson reports from Maisie's first swimming club in Northampton, where she is inspiring the next generation.
Maisie Summers-Newton.
It was a win she wanted badly and a victory that even she couldn't believe. Touching that wall first gave Maisie Summers-Newton her first Paralympic gold medal at her first Paralympic Games. The delight in her back garden in Northampton was deafening. The hugs tight.
Well, it's down to your hard work.
And the phone call by her mum to Tokyo almost immediate.
Still in with a great chance of gold.
But it wasn't an easy start. The potential for gold was everywhere, meaning an anxious watch for her coach back home where she trains. At halfway, though, Maisie took charge.
Oh, Maisie Summers-Newton's had a phenomenal breaststroke leg there.
And hung on for a world record win.
Exciting, nerve-wracking, but she's gone and done it. Paralympic champion. It's just amazing for her. So proud. It's just an amazing feeling to be part of someone's journey, and congratulations to Jackie, who's out there with her, because we've worked well as a team, and it's a real team effort.
It was emotional too, beating her British idol Ellie Simmonds, who came 5th.
Tully Kearney, what a time this is going to be!
The pool glittered gold for Tully Kearney as well. The 24-year-old beat her own world record in the S5 100-metre freestyle. It means their master strokes and hard work are being emulated in the very pools their stories began.
It's pretty special to be with the Paralympic swimmers when they're training.
They've shown the next generation that if you try hard and work hard and put your mind to it, you can always do it.
The human endeavour it takes and the pride that comes with it are what these games are all about. Lucy Watson, ITV News, Northampton.
Well, the swimming successes were just part of another good day for Paralympics GB in Tokyo. There were 3 more golds out of the pool, including a 12th career gold for Sir Lee Pearson in the Grade 2 individual dressage. Martha Fairley has the details.
21 years since equestrian Sir Lee Pearson first competed in these games. Today, with his horse Breezer, he proved once again why he is considered one of Paralympics GB's greatest athletes. A gold in the Grade 2 individual dressage means he is now Britain's 3rd most successful all-time Paralympic gold medalist.
This means as much as every single other gold, and people have compared it to my first gold in Sydney 2000, and it means the same because I don't ever take a gold medal, a medal or competition for granted.
Wheelchair fencing produced this golden moment for Piers Gilliver, winning the men's AAP. And there was an all-British final in the velodrome as Jacko van Gass and Finn Graham battled it out for the C3 3,000 metres men's individual pursuit. Since being badly injured by a Taliban rocket-propelled grenade in Afghanistan in 2009, Van Gass has become a downhill skier, run multiple marathons, climbed the Himalayas and trekked to the North Pole. Today he topped that off with a world record in qualifying and a Paralympic gold medal. And with 4 more cycling events to go, he could still add more to his inspiring list of achievements and Paralympics GB's impressive medal haul. Martha Fairley, ITV News.
Well, those results mean Great Britain are now up into 2nd in the medals table with a total of 17 medals. 6 of them are gold. Now, many of us have put on some extra weight since the pandemic started, and now there's evidence the same is true of our pets. It seems dog and cat owners staying home during lockdown have been dishing out more treats, making already worrying levels of pet obesity even worse. More from our correspondent, Peter Smith.
Over lockdown, the UK's pets have piled on the pounds.
Why do you think it is?
Maybe my brother gives them a wee bit of tidbits. She's actually loved it because everyone's been at home, so she's been definitely getting extra treats.
Well, I mean, we've all gained a bit of weight, haven't we? So I'm not really surprised.
Oh, tell me about it.
You know things are bad when even Oscar, once the proud PDSA Slimmer of the Year, has now had an unfortunate relapse.
Normally, if you speak to him, he would look at you, you know, and when he's got a bit of weight on him, it's like, I can't be bothered. Are you talking to me? Yeah, whatever. He's getting a bit heavy there now, aren't you?
The PDSA says 1.4 million pets in the UK have gained weight during the pandemic, mostly being fed more human treats. For context, 3 small cubes of cheese for a cat is like a human eating 2 quarter-pounder cheeseburgers, and a slice of toast and butter for your dog is 2 portions of fries for people.
Hi, Theo. Hello.
Scotland is the pet obesity capital of the UK, and there are serious health implications.
We're seeing it because obviously we sometimes don't see pets for, you know, a month, 2 months, sometimes even a year. And then you think, oh my goodness, is that the same pet?
It's time for tough love.
You know why we're here? Here to lose some weight on these dogs.
This British Army veteran is putting podgy pets through boot camp.
Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. How we're going to check for your dog being a little bit overweight is we're going to run our hands down the dog's side and we're going to see if we can feel the dog's ribs.
Can you feel those ribs?
No.
What does that tell you?
She's overweight.
How many times a day are you feeding Winston and Lady?
In all honesty, about 10 times a day.
She's only feeding 2 to 3 times per day.
2 to 3 times a day?
I know, I'm so bad for feeding them off my plate. And
these owners have now taken the leap to cut the pounds from their pups, and you can almost see the difference. Peter Smith, ITV News, Glasgow.
And finally, a very happy birthday to John Tinniswood, believed to be Britain's oldest man, who's turned 109 today. A letter from the Queen was among dozens he received at his care home on Merseyside through a surprise party for him. He's lived in and around Liverpool his whole life, working for the Post Office during World War II and then as an accountant. Well, John, who still looks after all his own finances, was asked what the secret to his long life was.
Moderation, that's the word. Moderation. Moderation in all things. Eating, drinking, sport, moderation.
Great advice. That is all for now. Julie will be here with news at 10, but from me and all the team, bye-bye.